Now, a former superbike racer who's been stranded in Dubai for 7 months after his wife died on their honeymoon has called on the British government to help him return home. 43-year-old Chris Emmett's wife, Abby, who was 27, fell from a balcony at their hotel in February. It was the last time he saw her alive. A coroner ruled her death wasn't suspicious. But as the couple had been drinking, Mr. Emmett had his passport confiscated, and he was fined for drinking alcohol without a licence. Mr. Emmett lives in Surrey and is a 19 times British superbike race winner. He says he has no idea when he'll be allowed to return home, and the Foreign Office says it can't interfere in the United Arab Emirates legal process. And we can speak to Chris Emmett now in his first national broadcast interview. Hello, Sean. Can you hear me okay?
Hi. Yeah,
Hi.
I can hear you fine. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for talking to us. Tell our listeners what it's like for you at the moment there in this limbo.
Well, obviously it's really difficult because it's exactly that. There's no time scale on when this is going to end. It's very hard to get any information from the authorities over here, actually what they're doing. The last time I had any interview of sorts was probably 4 months ago, so I've really just been stuck here on a weekly basis, going back to public prosecution to find out, what's happening with the case, and week after week it's just a case of we still have the investigation still open.
Investigation into what?
Well, into Abby's death, although the police gave a statement out saying there were no suspicious circumstances, there were no charges. They recorded the death as suicide, which, I said it wasn't suicide, it was an accident. But since then, it's really very difficult to find out exactly what they are doing.
Are you under investigation?
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's what I've asked. I've said I've done every interview I could have done at the time, every test, forensic test, blood test, you name it. I've fully cooperated with them, and I just keep going back and saying, how can I help speed this up? What do you need me to do? But unfortunately, you don't really get much of an answer, and they just said, look, it's kind of go away. The investigation's still open. Come back next week.
Have you been able to grieve for your wife?
It's a difficult question, really. Obviously, it was a tough time on September the 10th when Abby's funeral was held in the UK, and obviously I was stuck over here. But I don't think so, really. I think at the moment I'm sort of kind of in this bubble, and it's sort of a perpetual nightmare, and maybe once I get home and see family and friends, I think that's when it'll really hit me.
Can you tell us a little about Abby?
Yeah, I mean, Abby was great. She was a fantastic musician. She was a percussionist. She played, in West End shows, The Lion King, and she played for Eric Clapton and Kanye West. Take That. She was a fantastic woman. My best friend, and we did pretty much everything together. She loved coming to the bikes and loved watching me race. So it was ideal. It was, we were peas in a pod, and it was perfect, really.
And you'd only been married a few weeks before she fell from the hotel balcony in Dubai.
Yeah, that's right. We got married. I did a race series over in a classic Grand Prix series over in South Africa. So we were going to be there for sort of 3 weeks, and we decided it would be a great idea to get married on the beach in front of Table Mountain in Cape Town. So I did the series, and I managed to win that. So that was great for the team. And then we went on, had an absolutely brilliant wedding. It was quite nice, exactly as we wanted it, casual and sort of low key. Just a few of the riders and the team owner and my brother and some good friends came over from England, flew over for it. And that was on the 6th of Feb. It was just brilliant. And then we kind of just honeymooned really in Cape Town. Had a brilliant time, and the reason we came to Dubai was that it just worked out on the cost of tickets, that if we flew direct to Heathrow from Cape Town, we could do the same but have effectively 2-3 nights in a really nice hotel suite in Dubai. So and Abby had 3 cousins that lived over here that she hadn't seen, hadn't been to Dubai before, and we kind of thought, well, why not? It sounds all right. But obviously didn't turn out, anything like we imagined.
The coroner recorded her death as suicide. You say that's not right. Can you tell us what happened?
Yeah, I mean, we've been out. It was our first sort of full day in Dubai, and we've been hanging around. There was a tennis tournament on the Aviation Club, which is the hotel we were staying at. There's a big tennis club there in the Irish Village, and it was Ladies' Week, so we were just watching a bit of tennis on the big screens, and just having a few beers in the afternoon, some lunch, and just all within the hotel complex. There's various restaurants and bars and so on. And then towards the evening, I remember Abid had probably a bottle and a half of wine, a couple of beers, so she was pretty merry. And we were going back upstairs, and Abby went up, and I said, well, I was just going to watch the last two games Laura Robson was playing, just to see if she won, but she lost. So I went up to the room, and Abby had already ordered a bottle of white wine from room service, and I was kind of, do we really need this? But there was a bar there, the Cuba bar on the 8th floor, so I went to check if that was open, because they've been doing interviews in the day, so we thought it might be closed for a couple of days. But anyway, that was open, and it was a great bar. It had a kind of patio area, a great view of the cityscape. It is amazing. You have to say that at night. The view here is phenomenal. It's like Gotham City. But anyway, I got Abby and said, look, come on, let's go to the bar and just have a couple of beers. So I just really didn't want her to drink too much more wine. So we went there. We had 4 bottles of Corona each. We sat with a big fat American guy. He was quite funny actually, and he'd been travelled to Dubai a lot and was sort of giving us guidance what to do, whether to do a safari or so on, just some ideas for the next day. We weren't there for long, so we just sort of chewing the cud really and saying, what do you reckon we should do? So that shut at 1 o'clock. So we went back to the room, and Abby was really happy and hyper, just having a great time, to be honest. But she got back to the room, cracked open the wine, so I had a coffee, because I was just sort of I'd had enough really, and just thought I didn't really fancy the wine. She was just jumping around, put the music on the telly, mega loud, and jumping around on the bed, falling over, that kind of, just good spirits really. And then I thought, having been a professional sportsman, I know what it's like if you're in a hotel room and you've got, a big race, or for these tennis people, a big match the next day. The last thing you want is, a party, all-night party going on next in the next room. So I got Abby to just sort of said, look, let's turn the telly down a bit and the music down, and it's just that we had a cigarette out the window. There was no balcony, by the way, but that's it seems to be, every bit of press is that it was off the balcony. No, this was just if you imagine a tower block, just a sheer glass building basically. So right. Yeah, the window, you could slide the window open,
and there would be a sort of balcony type rail, but no actual balcony to step on.
Yeah, there's no. I mean, it was just, you looked out, it was a sheer drop. It's just the buildings you see, across America, everywhere in cityscapes, just those huge, great, shining, reflective glass buildings. So yeah, you could slide the window across and fit 2 of us quite snugly, side by side. We were just outside, just smoking, having a cigarette outside, looking at stuff. And we were just chatting away and having a laugh. And Abby, our wedding rings were quite loose, because the guy that made them a bit bigger in case of the heat and so on, whether our fingers got swollen up. But she managed to drop a wedding ring. So, we're 4 floors up, and it landed on, there's like a load of paved areas, and there's a lot of shrubbery. Like down below, it's just shrubbery and sort of sandy base. But, I heard the ring go ting, 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 so it's kind of bounced somewhere. And it was, I just said, that's a nightmare. that's going to be pretty hard to find. So we went down looking for the ring. And to be fair, Abby, she wasn't much good. She was, I wouldn't say staggering around, but, certainly wasn't in a fit state to looking for a tiny little, white gold ring. So I sent Abby back upstairs, and she was looking out the window and sort of pointing a finger, where she thought it might have been. And the manager of the restaurant came out with a torch, and he helped me. And 20 minutes later, we we didn't give up completely, but we said, look, on his advice, look, just go to bed. There's no one around now. Get up dead early in the morning, and at first light, when no one's walking around, you've got a good chance of finding it. It might have just fallen in the grass somewhere or in one of the shrubs or so on. So that's what I decided to do. So I went back upstairs and saw Abby, and it kind of gone from one extreme to the other. Suddenly she'd become, not hysterical, but really upset, tearful, crying, sort of really upset about, potentially losing the ring, and, felt that she'd let me down. And I said, look, it's cool. We'll find it in the morning. It's not the end of the world. But she was then leaning out the window, and, I said to Abby, don't lean out the window like that, because I could just see it was so precarious, and she was kind of on that balance point, or very near it, and obviously she was drunk. So I closed the window a couple of times, said, come on, get away from the window. But she insisted. It was one of those situations where the more I said, don't go near the window, the more she wanted to go near the window. So I said, all right, look, have a cigarette out the window. And she was leaning out the window, and I said, don't lean out the window. And I'd stopped her a few times, and I said, look, I'll tell you what, I'll go down, I'll give it 10, 15 minutes more looking for the ring. If not, I'll go down. As soon as it gets light in the morning, I'll go and get it. So she was, crying, and it was, I was just trying to calm her down. I said, look, don't worry, you're getting upset over something. It's not too bad. It's going to be fine. And we had quite a big suite. So we sort of had a kitchen and a lounge area and bedroom. Excuse me. So I went out, and I was in kind of the corridor, so it's probably about 10 metres away from Abby, and she's at the window, and she was looking around. I said, look, I'm going to go and look for the ring, just stop leaning out the window, which she kept doing. I said, will you stop, please, leaning out the window? The next minute, just as I was about to go, I just saw her feet just flicked in the air, and just heard, there was no noise apart from basic instinct, just that sharp intake of breath as she dropped, and I was just couldn't believe what I was seeing. So I ran up to the window, looked out, couldn't really see anything. So that's when I went obviously downstairs. As soon as I got out the lift, saw security, asked for the ambulance. My wife's fallen out the window. Come on, and got through. I said, just ring an ambulance. Then I ran outside, saw a security guard. He said he'd seen something fall from the window. I said, yeah, it wasn't something, it's my wife. So I managed to obviously go below the window, through the shrubbery, and I found Abby just lying there on the floor. And it was, it was just like she was kind of just asleep almost. It wasn't, legs weren't bent everywhere. It was just like you'd almost laid her there. But I felt for a pulse, and then performed CPR, and just obviously I was kind of doing that angry sort of crying, sort of swearing at her. Yeah, I just carried on. I couldn't find a pulse, so I gave excuse me, mouth to mouth and CPR, and obviously I'm not a qualified medic, so I was just trying all the basic stuff that most people know, and just holding Abby, and I had sort of just crying on Abby, just tears, just tried for, I don't know how long it was, but till the paramedics arrived, but it could have been 20 minutes, could have been 10 minutes, but I was just desperately trying to get Abby to wake up effectively, or get a pulse or something. And that they arrived, and then obviously they took over, and the police arrived, and I just then went into the giving them the interviews and an account of what happened, just basically where we out on the patio on the ground, for just telling them exactly what happened. Abby was taken off by the paramedics, and I could see them performing CPR and stuff in the back of the ambulance. I asked to go with her, but the police said, no, you'll have to come with us. So that was it. I went off to the police station, and Abby went off to hospital.